It's this weird, right? It's like focus, not focus. Focus, not focus. Super not focus. Super focus. So I'm currently doing an advertising course to learn how to become a copywriter and hopefully become a creative in the advertising industry. So we recently were given this task to create a manifesto, right? It defines who we are, what we do, and what we want to do. Essentially, it's our professional identity. I'm not gonna lie, I struggled. I really struggled. It's been really difficult for me to come up with a title that just says, this is me, Obina, Wah, there. It's because I do different things, you know. By day I'm a data analyst, but I also do writing and blogging. I also do web development, you know, different things. And I promise they all make sense in my head. They're all connected and there's a purpose to all of them. But there isn't really a title that just says everything all together, boom. Nor is there a salary that does that, right? So I interviewed someone recently and the topic came up in the conversation and this was their response.
Your job doesn't define you, and don't confuse your job for who you are, right? I think this is me getting a little socialist, but that's like what capitalism wants you to do. It wants you to conflate your labor with your worth and your identity. So if you need to take a job because it pays you well, but it doesn't really make you passionate, just remember that's not your whole life, and that you can carve out space for your passions outside of your work, if that kind of makes sense. We don't need to monetize everything that we love. I think that's something that a lot of people feel pressured to do.
So to set some context, I met this person, their name is Thando. I met them while I was in uni and they worked at the career center. And it's actually an interesting story of how they ended up working there. So if you're interested in that sort of story, please check out the link below. But she is now pivoting to become a therapist, specifically working with immigrants and communities of color. So yeah, she's pretty damn cool. So we were talking about work and some advice that she would give somebody who was trying to find their calling, or advice that she would give to somebody who realized they didn't like what they were doing and were looking to pivot. And this is what she said.
You're going to spend like 40, 50 hours a week doing something. I think that it should nurture you in some way. So it's all about finding that balance. Like, you aren't what you do, but you also have the right to do work that is fulfilling to you.
I mean, historically speaking, most people didn't actually get much of a say in the type of work they did, especially at the beginning. It was more like, your father's a carpenter, therefore you're a carpenter. Or you were just generally limited to whatever actual opportunity existed in front of you. But today we're actually going through this interesting phase, at least in the UK or places like the UK or the US, where we're going through this great resignation where people are actually quitting jobs due to a lack of flexibility to be able to do stuff like work from home. And it's amazing. But with the variety of job options now available, a weird thing has sort of happened where the name of your job or the title of your job kind of reflects your standing in society. An article written by the BBC on Work Life says that increased access to education over the past century has led to the emergence of more varied jobs, but thus more income tiers. So jobs have become a significant marker of identity in a more nuanced way. When someone says they're a surgeon, you generally assume they have strong education and high income. Two metrics that can determine one's standing in society and affect how you subsequently judge the person. I mean, there are pros and cons to everything in life, but I definitely think this is more of a con. The idea that your job title or job description changes how you're seen in society, it's kind of big. You're a doctor, therefore you're doing well and you studied hard and you're super smart. Whereas if you say you are a plumber, then it means something else. But in reality, when you look at what they actually do, plumbing has eradicated more disease and saved millions of people. Not saying doctors aren't great. Big up doctors. I go to the hospital, like, all of that. I'm gonna go back. When you think about it, plumbing has eradicated a multitude of diseases and have saved millions of lives. but you know, you're a plumber. Which is why what Thando said was so important. Because it's true, there's so much more to all of us than just that box of an occupation that we all fit something into. You know, in today's age where we have so many options, we can be so much more and are so much more than just that 9 to 5 period, right? We have hobbies, we have interests, we have families, just general lives. I mean, when we die, the first thing that people say are not going to be like, oh, that person made the best spreadsheets known to man. Ooh, those macros. Nah, they're going to be more like, he made jokes that nobody would laugh at except him. Not me, of course. My jokes are funny. People laugh. Yeah. But you get the point. It is important to find work that fulfills you, that nourishes you, and that builds you up. I think that's very important. But just remember, it's only one part of the larger narrative that just makes all of us. I'm doing this thing now where I write poems based off the different interviews that I do. And so I wrote one based off this one and I call it The Interview. Hope you like it. Palms sweating, cautiously nervous, every tick timing the day till the rent is due. Then the door opens and silence ensues as the man goes and asks, who's next? Oh, you. Bladder clenched, I stand, man, I really need to use the loo. Seated face to face, I brace for impact. The first question, tell me about you. Well, in my last role, I saw billions, while my highest, they made millions, and every day I brought in something new. From dawn till dusk, in me you trust, cause giving right answers is what I do. I can see that, I'm very impressed, but bring it down a step or two. I know the numbers, I know the facts, but what I want to know is about you. Well, I'm first of four, a self-starter from birth. A wide one is given when I enter the room. I've worked in great places, been in great spaces, but a job with you would be over the moon. So you love work? That much is true, but so did the last guy and everyone around you, all generic faces from the same places. But what I'm trying to ask is about you. So, what else can I say? I'm feeling a bit dismayed. I've answered all your questions. This is an interview. This is all of me. I love the work and I'm free. I can be your #1 employee, sir. Just please look at my degree. Listen, we all have bills and pain we go through, and you have the right to work that fulfills you, but it's just part of the main. There should be more to explain, cause my friend, you aren't what you do. Well, I broke my leg climbing a tree. Let's just start with your name. Sure, but first, I really need to pee.